When it comes to our current creative landscape, there are far too many experts and not enough doers. Know what I'm talking about? It's a very complicated subject to get into, but I want to talk about how everybody is an expert nowadays. Like the market, and that's the key. The market is flooded with motherfuckers who want to sell you a course on how to do this and that. And while I'm not saying you can't teach poetry, you can't teach music or comedy. These art forms are suffering because of a disease called over expertise. You know, people are so focused on becoming an expert before they even become like a serious participant in the craft, in even the culture. Like, let me give you an example. Like for comedians sit around all day talking about other comedians, talk about selling tickets, talk about uh, improving their craft before they even go on an open mic or a show to show their improvements and continue to make more improvements. Know what I'm talking about? Like just it's like the nerds took stand up comedy where it is and then started to erode it all in one swoop, all in the same motion, all to get to a point where now everybody thinks they have to be an expert in this shit. Everybody believes that it's somehow important for you to have courses and classes and hundreds of articles on it. Yes, I go on Substack. I write a few articles about my experience, but I never want to like hurt somebody's potential thinking I'm some type of know-it-all. That's why it's very rare for me to offer my expertise, especially unsolicited. Like, yeah, I will admit I've made some of these same mistakes. You know, but I feel like the difference is that I'm awake. I'm aware of the ridiculous um, the ridiculous obsession of motherfuckers constantly trying to tell you how to do your shit. Like, could somebody like Mitch Hedberg exist if he did exactly what everybody else did? Would Emily Dickinson be remembered the way she is as a poet if she didn't put her foot down and kept the dashes in her work, even though the editor Higgins or whatever was sending her submissions in to look more standard of the day. Because a lot of this shit we talk about, we know in hindsight. We know later that this is not the way, but a good way to do things. And yeah, I do think you should learn from all the people around you in any way you can, whether it's what you ought to not do or what you should do. But it should come more from observation. It should not come from, a comedy gym. It should not come from a Kill Tony, a glorified open mic where you get to get shit on by your fucking, fellow, clowns. It like it should be rough, but it shouldn't be disrespectful, and it shouldn't be so egocentric. Like I know that there's certain comedians who people talk about who make these books like the Comedy Bible, this, that, and the other, and undoubtedly have had a level of influence on other people. But they'll say when they finally see these people do the shows or whatnot. That, well, maybe they're, I think they're good, they're talented, but they're not as funny as I would think they would be as teachers. And I'm like, well, man, maybe it's because they're teachers. Maybe they're better at teaching the art than doing it. Maybe that, and I know that fucking old ass statement, those who can't do teach. But I do think a lot of people who teach are sincere and they really want to teach. They really want to be that fucking thing. And I think it's okay for them to do it. But it just feels like it has to be earned. And I know this is a rough one because it's also something nobody wants to do. Just like nobody ever wants to host events, or certain people do. And some people seem like they were born to do it. But when it comes to teaching, like I feel like people need to be more observational. I feel like the older comedians and even some of the older poets weren't quick to offer you a fucking workshop or something. You know? Like I'm gonna tell you what the problem was. I'm gonna tell you what the problem is. What I think the problem is that what happened in all of these arts and crafts is once the teaching part became an event, that's what destroyed this shit. Destroyed the natural flow of things in terms of artistic development. It killed it because it was always about a profit anyway when you look at a lot of academic shit. But at least, the structure was a little bit more settled. Not never perfect, but a little bit more settled. And then, just egos get in the way. Egos get in the fucking way. So the reason I brought this up, because I was watching this video by this guy who talks a lot about comedy and whatnot. And in the video, he was talking about why improv is not respected. The greats of improv, barely anybody knows who they are. People know Robin Williams, who would integrate improv into his stand-up, but that's mostly about it. And there's a couple guys doing something today, but the bottom line is, because of the nature of it, the lack of singularity, just a bunch of stuff he was talking about that was interesting, but I heavily disagree with one point he tried to make about Robin Williams was on the Inside Actor Studio episode, which is a very popular improv moment that I remember from Robin Williams. But there's a part in there, I think before that, when he's asking him a question about his improv, but he's talking to him about it. He's not so much asking a question. And Robin Williams seemed like he was going to try to explain his process as an improv and all that. And the dude kind of said, well, man, maybe you just think faster than other people. You're on another level. And the guy, the host, I forget his name, basically just praised him as if, like nobody could reach his ability. And it was superb what he would do in terms of being light and quick as an improv. And his point is that he denied him a process. He denied him an ability to show and prove why improv is legitimate. And while I kind of feel where he was coming from with that shit he was saying, I kind of think that the irony is that that's the problem right now that we're in, is that I don't know if he was denying them, but even if he got an opportunity to say what he wanted to say, I don't personally believe most casuals care. I don't. I mean, I think they care more than they used to because it's something that's sold to them. And, there's more information out there about stand-up comedy, improv. It's just more shit than ever about how to do some stuff creatively, I just feel that, no. I think that's the overreach. That's the overarching issue right now. Whereas, yes, you have the hardcore nerds like myself, and like this guy, and then you got the hardcore fans, and there are a number of them who are into these, particular aspects in terms of how to do it. But it's like there's just too much information on it. It's too much of an emphasis on it. Like it's such an emphasis on how to do it. A lot of times we don't even consider the aspects outside of it that makes up these comedians, these poets, these writers. We're over infatuated by it to some degree. And again, I admit to myself being very obsessive with it. But at the same time, I recognize that if I spend more fucking time analyzing other poets, analyzing other comedians, analyzing other writers, um, having to be at every fucking workshop, having to, needing to, you know what I'm saying? Be psychoanalyzed about the shit where I'm supposed to be psychoanalyzed in a creative way, then I'm never gonna get shit done. I'm never going to get the shit done if I'm focusing on defining the standards or rules, or I should say, the processes, the way to go about doing this shit. I think it's something that should be done on the side. It should be less like when you're in reflective mode. Okay, be in reflective mode and then write about it and talk about your work. I do agree. I used to kind of disagree that we shouldn't have to worry about talking about it at all, but I think it's okay. But you can't spend all fucking day, every day, talking about it. Because I'm telling you, this is why I don't like being around a lot of comedians anymore. Or even certain poets, because they just so mental masturbation. It's like, and they don't even really have anything interesting to say. But again, if there was no social award to it, most of these motherfuckers wouldn't even be into it. I mean, God bless them. God fucking bless them for, let's make sure my mic is still on, for being so interested. But it's sometimes a little hollow. Everybody want to be the teacher, but nobody want to be the doer, man. So that's where I'm at with that. I'm trying to remind myself that I'm primarily a doer of the arts, not a commentator of the art, even though my art is a commentary on any and everything, and to some degree, the arts itself. There it is. Rant over. Let me know what y'all think. Peace.